My official name is Deborah Daniel, but everybody here calls me Deb. And my title is Children's Services Coordinator. I've been here about 34 years. Yeah, so yeah, July will be my 34th year.
And
So I started in 1982 as an education coordinator for home-based services, and when we were really a small agency, and so I've been doing the kind of work ever since. The only difference is that we've grown to be this huge macro agency.
Just that
It's gone by so quickly. It doesn't seem like 34 years. It's because I think of the nature of the work. Children are always pretty delightful and encouraging, and teachers, to see teachers working so solidly with the children in the classrooms, and I mean, they just bring a whole different level of happiness, I think. And so, I was talking about the changes, and curriculum certainly has gone through this evolution, much like the departments and much like the work. We used to have prescribed, kind of thematic approach to curriculum, and ever since we, started adjusting, making change over time, it's become this beautiful blend of, what children are actually interested in, and what parents are interested in, and what teachers are interested in. The thing that has stayed the same, though, is this assessment piece. We're always using, observation and child assessment as some direction that influences the curriculum, even after 34 years. And definitely after 34 years, because one thing that's changed is this notion of accountability. Now we have many more kind of guidances in terms of the health and safety practices and transportation and all of those features that really impact everything we do. Yeah. Oh, procedures. We would all take turns on this old electric typewriter to type out procedures on this, it wasn't ditto paper, but anyway, the stencil paper. And so sometimes what we do, oftentimes actually, is we'd all collect in where Human Resources is now, downstairs here in the main building. We would all sit on the floor, arrange our procedures, and pass our notebooks from one department to the next. Usually one department meant one or two people, and Maggie was always a part of that. We'd start with, maybe it was our disabilities department. Their color was pink in procedures, and then they'd move to children's services, and our color was yellow in terms of all our procedures. And then we'd move it over to health and nutrition services, and theirs was blue. And then family services, which was green, and then Maggie's was white. And so that's how we knew we had a complete procedures manual that every center team or every center would receive at pre-service. Well, upstairs where the Palo Verde room is used to be Maggie's office and Cheryl Petrosius's office. And all of health and nutrition services and family services were upstairs. And the greeter, the person at the front desks, were upstairs. And what is that Palo Verde and Desert Room area, that housed like 3 whole departments. And then downstairs were children's services and disabilities. And we were all kind of cornered off where Monica sits now. So that where human services and OED are now, that used to be children's services and special needs. And we also had a resource library, and that's where we had our policy council meetings and board meetings in all those little spaces. But again, we were small, and we didn't even have access to the room that we're in now. This used to belong to a trucking company, and then in the far back where the parking lot is now, the indoor parking, there was this small little business. I think they were in import-export service of some sort. So there were other businesses that belonged to, or that were renting space here. The vault, we'd call it the old vault. It had like an old meat locker sliding door on the back of it, or on the front of it. And that's where all the children's files were held. They were housed there. Now all the files are going electronic, version, and they're also physically being housed in the indoor parking lot a lot. There are all those cabinets. It's gone through many changes, and got different color schemes and remodels, and I think that is a sign of growth, and all the people who live in this building.
It's certainly a lot better.
This is one thing I do remember when I was first hired with Teresa. She asked me if I could commit to a year. I suppose I could commit for a year, sure. And then she said, after that, she says, of course, we do not know, from one year to the next if we'll be funded. And so I says, okay, I can live with that. And so 34 years later, we've still been funded, and we continue to get funding and expanding and creating new services for other populations, and so it's been pretty amazing, and I think that's why the 34 years has gone so quickly.
Amazing.
I would just say that we've had a lot of growth over time. It's all been in this, all for the better. I think one thing that never changed or never has changed is this strive for quality. And there are more and more things that we can think about and consider as we continue to grow.